Okay, just gonna finish up. If we see how far we can get today, if we get them all done, then we're going to, okay? So, get ready, take some notes, get your note card out. If you need that, you can start putting stuff down. Number 11. Should be pretty straight up for you. You want to evaluate f of 5. So that means we're going to put 5 in wherever x is. So we're going to have -5. So instead of x, we're going to put 5 minus 2. So that's going to be -25 minus 2. So f of 5 is -27. F of 5 is -27. That's probably what it's going to look like on your answer sheet. It'll say f of 5 is -27. Number 12, graph. Okay, it is y equals x plus 2. So that is a graph of a line graph. So plus 2 is the intercept, +1 is the slope, up 1, over 1. And that's basically all you have to do. Up 1, over 1 for your slope. And that is number 12, graphing that function. Intercept plus 2, that's your y-intercept. If you have a graphing calculator, you can always put it in. Go to y equals and put it in there and check. In fact, I would suggest that. Remember, no phone calculators will be allowed. No phone calculators. Thirteen. Solve. Okay? So what do we, when you see solve, what are we solving for? We're solving for y. All right? So distribute that 4, we're going to get negative. Distributing that 4. Come back, try that again. We're going to get negative 96. Distributing that, we're going to get negative 32 is equal to negative 64. Negative 4 over those. We're going to add 96. You're going to end up with negative 32y equals 32. Negative 64 plus 96 is 32. Divide by negative 32. And your y is -1 for 13. Simple algebra there, distribute and solve for y. We're going to do that same thing with 14. Also, I want you to remember that if it comes out to be a false statement, does anybody remember? If it's like 8 equals 4, what's that mean? There's no solution, okay? So you might want to jot that in your notes. You know, if it comes out false, anytime any of our statements come out false, whether it's has an equals or an inequality, if it comes out false, there'll be no solutions. What if it came out like 2 equals 2? True statement. What's that mean? Anybody remember? Yeah, it's going to be all the reals. Thanks, Mason. That's going to be in all the reals. So true statement will be infinite amount of solutions or all the reals. If it's a false statement, that means there's no number that would make that work. All right, let's go with this guy right here. You know, we got to get the ends on one. I'm going to plus 30 ends on this side. So that's going to give me 33n. And then I'm going to plus 24 on this side. And that's gonna give me, 38, is that right? Oh, this looks like a goofball problem, but it's working. You see anything there, Mr. Slur, I'm missing? At 33N plus 24, I'm gonna get 38, okay. So N is equal to 38 over 33. Yeah, I don't know how I came up with that one, but there it is. There she be.
Wait, why is it 38 over 30?
Because I divided by 33 here.
Oh,
If we could simplify that fraction, we would. But we could leave it at decimal if we want to divide it. That's good enough.
Yep. Yeah, no need to do much of that.
120.
All right, so here's our first graph of an inequality, which can be a little bit tricky for a solving graph, okay? -2, I'm gonna put X there for your purposes, because most of you, never mind, I'm messing up again. This is just a single line variable, because there's only one variable here, Mr. Grove's fault. Do not need a Cartesian here. Got ahead of myself. All right, so let's solve. I'm going to add 7 to both sides of the equation, have -2a, right, on that side, still greater than, -3 and 7 would be 4, right? Everybody okay? Now I'm gonna divide by -2. Remember, when I divide by negative on that inequality, I need to do what? Switch it. So now it becomes less than -2. We're gonna graph this on a number line. The only number we're really interested in is at -2. And it's not including it, so we're gonna have it open. Where is a less than -2? Well, -3, -4, -5 is everything less than, so that's going this way.
flip this over if it's like.
If you divide by negative, yeah. So we flipped it because we divided by negative. Here's another single variable, solving graph. There's a lot going on this one, so let's see what we got. We need to distribute. So 5 times -4 and 5 times 2x would be 10x. Greater than or equal to, distribute there. We're gonna get 10x and we're gonna get +8. So all I'm doing is distributing the 5 and then distributing the 2. Does everybody so far see what we've done? Now we begin to solve. Let's get the x's on one side. So in that case, I'm gonna subtract 10x. And here's a problem. What happens? All the x's are gone. I'm left with -20 greater than or equal to 8. There's no variables left. So I ask myself, is that a true statement? Or is that a false statement? Is -20 bigger than 8? No. So what does that mean? Remember, put in your notes. If it's false, no solution. If it's true, all reals.
I have a question.
Yeah, I have an answer.
I did, like, I added 20 to the 8 and went from there. And then I divided, is that like very wrong?
No, you still get the same, you just get, so you would get -28 is greater than 0.
Okay.
Something, you probably got something like that, that's fine. It's still the same. And I guess my best answer should be for you right there, you're still gonna get a false statement. Does that make sense? You're still gonna get a false statement. Okay, on to some proportion. What do we do with those? Cross multiply, of course. You can simplify if you want to start with, so 4/1 can really just simplify to half, right? That makes things a little bit easier. If you wanna do that, you can. If you just wanna grab your calculator and say 8x equals 4 times 16, then divide by 8, that'll do it too. Okay, so I just simplified 4/8 to 1/2, so that's gonna be 2x equals 16, divided by 2. X is 8. Had a yogurt and ham sandwich, yeah.
For 16, if it was the overall numbers, let's say it was true, then is that when you graph it?
Yeah, you could graph it then, but you could also, if it's true, if you just say all the reals, that's probably gonna work. But I'm not sure, it's probably on my assessment, it's multiple choice, so there's probably a line that shows all answers.
Okay.
So, remember, it's all multiple choice, so you have an answer to try. Now, the problem with multiple choice is that it's either right or wrong. So that's the problem. You can't give you partial. High school student problem, another proportion with percent. So we see 80% over 100, kind of relevant now, because I think some stadiums are only seating like 30% different. So it's a real simple problem, but somebody had to figure out the capacity of Cleveland Brown Stadium is 75,000. What's 20% of that? That's what we're allowed to have in there with COVID. So they just did this simple calculation, just like we're doing right here. If there are 405 students enrolled in the high school, how many students in the seat? Okay, so 405 is the big part. So again, you can grab your calculator, throw this guy in there. My brain's not gonna be able to do this one, so really, someone has a calculator handy, 100x equals 80 times 405, and divide that by 100, and that would be your x. Anybody got one handy? Try it for me.
82,400.
I don't think. Can't be over 405. Can't be over 405. It's 80% of 405, which is 300 probably, so. Huh?
324.
324 sounds good. 324 students. Having a little luck with it now? 324, maybe?
What is do you know how for like questions like that, when you like put it in, isn't it like percent over 100?
Right.
Can you write that?
Right here, 80 over 100.
No, I mean like, but like,
You want me to put percent?
no, that's not, I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know how like when you're teaching that for the first time and you like show it, and you say, well, you put the like percentage in here, the 100 in here, the X there, like the blank version of that, what
Right.
is that? Like, where?
Well, okay, I got you.
Percent
So-
over 100
Yeah.
equals part over whole.
Percent over 100, okay, as he just said, equals your part over our whole.
Okay, thank you.
So this is your percent over 100.
Thank you.
Is that what you were asking?
Yeah.
Nick, Mr. Shirley, figure out what you want to do.
There's a.
Yeah. All right, onto a graph now. We're gonna have a little Cartesian coordinate system. Of course, you'll have 4 graphs to choose from. graph a line with a slope of -1/3, it passes through -6, -4. So -6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's -6, -4, and your slope is down 1. So we go down 1, and then over 3, 1, 2, somewhere, down 1 over 3, and that would be that line right there. Negative slope down 1 over 3. Here comes the zoo. All right, find the intercept, then graph the line. Let's find those intercepts. So we have -x minus y equals 2. So let's plug in 0 for x. If we put 0 in for x, 0 in for x, what are we gonna have? -y equals 2. So then you're gonna divide by -1. So y would be -2. Okay, what's the other thing we gotta put in? 0 for y. If I put 0 in for y, I'm gonna get -x equals 2. Divide by -1, I'm gonna get x equals -2. Graph those. I'm gonna put them on this one right here. So x is 0, y is -2 would be right here. That would be x at 0, y at -2. This would be y at x at -2, which puts me right here, y at 0. And that would be those guys right there. I'm hoping that the multiple choice will help you with the graphing part. We weren't real good with graphing. Get a graphing calculator and put them in y equals mx plus b at least. Or you could just play on your cell phone and then once you take the exam, ask Mr. Slur a bunch of questions.
Or some people.
All right, another graph. Gotta put it in a slope intercept form. I'm gonna take the x over, so I'm gonna end up with 10y equals -5x minus 20. I'm gonna divide by 10 and get y equals -1/2 x minus 2.
Check down some figures.
Quick graph here. X at negative, or y your intercept at -2, which puts us right there, and your slope is 1/2, which would be down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. Number 20, 22, you're gonna need some notes. You're gonna need this formula, y minus y1 equals slope, x minus x1. On your note card, you might wanna write that down. Number 22, I need this.
Okay.
So we have a line parallel to that. So if it's parallel, it's gonna have the same slope, which is our m, which would be -2. But our x value is -2, -4 for our x and y. So our x is negative here. So it's negative in this, but it's -2 there, so it's gonna end up being +2. So we're plugging in an x. Here we're gonna plug our y in. Our y is -4, but negative here, so it's gonna be positive 4. Distribute now. Y plus 4 equals negative 2. I'm going to x minus 4. So I distributed that negative 2. And now I'm going to subtract 4 and end up with y equals negative 2x minus 8, which is slope intercept form. Is this helpful?
Yes.
Again, the same numbers. Number 22, when you take it's going to be this one too. So.
Is slope intercept for the y minus y1 or mx plus b?
Mx plus b, slope intercept. This orange one right here,
Yeah.
that's called the point slope form.
So we have to do that in order to get slope intercept form?
You gotta use the point you gotta use the point slope form to get to the equation, yes.
Is parallel, like, we keep them as, the numbers the
The
same?
slope will be the same. If it's perpendicular, it's the opposite reciprocal.
Thank you.
So that's a possibility. So if this was a perpendicular, if this didn't say parallel, it said perpendicular, our new slope would be the opposite reciprocal, which would be just 1/2. Because negative 2 reciprocal would be negative 1/2, but the opposite would be positive 1/2. So you might want to jot that in if you're taking any notes. '23. Another graph. Cartesian graphing here. We got to find the true sides, right? So it's in y equals mx plus b already. Again, if you struggle with graphing, use your calculator, might help. Negative 2 is the intercept. It is a positive 3, so 1, 2, up 3 over 4. Up 3 over 4 puts it there. It is a dotted line. Okay, we're done with this. We're just looking at that. It's a dotted line because it's just greater than. You remember doing these? We're always looking to find what? Which side is the true side? Okay, so we can plug in zeros and see if above is the true side. So put in 0 for y. Putting in 0 for x, the only thing on that side is going to be negative 2. So the question is 0 greater than negative 2? Well, yes, it is. I tried this side. This is the true side. And that is the side that will be shaded. Anything there? You guys hanging in there or you want me to stop? Hanging in there? I just soon get it done today and then tomorrow we can chillax. Everybody good? Let's keep rolling. 24, compound inequality, graph the solution. It's an or statement, okay? So we're gonna end up just solving for those. We'll do this guy right here in green. That's S. Or if you want to change it to X so it's a little bit more prevalent, X minus 2 less than negative 10. I'm going to plus 2. So I'm going to get X less than negative 8. Or I'm just changing that to X so you see what we're looking at. Negative 3X less than or equal to 6, divide by negative 3. Okay, so now we're going to end up with X. Remember, we divided by negative, so what? Got to switch that guy. So let's throw this on the number line. And the only numbers we're really concerned about is negative 8 and negative 2. Negative 8 is not included because it's just less than, right? So where is x less than -8? That's everything headed this way. Where is x greater than -2? And including, so we're gonna include that, it's solid. And everything going that way. I feel like I'm starting to lose you a little bit, so I'm gonna stop. And we'll just pick up here tomorrow, okay? A little better concentration. Is that fair enough, everybody? Okay, we guess got a few left. So 25 to 30 will be tomorrow.